The creativity was fueled by my grandmother, by my mom. She was a kindergarten teacher and she always painted her classroom. So I was always around paint. I was always around art, but I sucked at all of it. When she called me, she said, I have a new project. Okay. She said, I bought a lodge. There are 8 bedrooms. We'll have a full functioning kitchen. I said, okay. What do we need to do? She said, well, we're taking it down to the studs. I was like, oh, okay. To be asked by your grandmother who now sees you as a professional to take it all over. That's everything little 7-year-old Piper hanging those drapes in her attic wanted.
Welcome to the Take 148 podcast, produced by 148 Films. Join us as we explore video production, creative storytelling, and the real stories behind the lens. About to get real good. Piper, welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
It's been a while since you've been here because I know life happens. You're a busy businesswoman, but this is the first time I think you've been inside the podcast studio. I know it's the first time you've been on mic with us.
Yes.
So when was the last time you were at the studio? Do you remember?
Goodness, well, our marketing meetings that we do with our overall, quarterly marketing meetings that we do.
There you go.
So I guess it was last quarter.
Okay.
But not in the podcast studio, so I'm excited.
No, that's right. First time in here on the mic. We were just talking off mic. We think it's been probably about 5 years since the relationship began. And it's been really fun to see where things have gone, starting, from the very basic fundamental production all the way up to we just finished a big shoot that involved a baby grand piano and a traveling musician, and we're selling houses like that. Yes. So, we're having fun telling the story.
Yeah, we are.
So, in our world, you know this because you've worked with us for a while, but we like to do pre-production research on all of our projects.
Right.
So, with that in mind, we're going to do some pre-production research on Piper.
Yeah.
So these are quick fire questions. First one, what's been taking up the most headspace this week for Piper?
Oh man, the most headspace is really we're going into the next quarter, right? So my biggest headspace and headache right now is AI, and I think that's everyone's, right?
It is.
And we're in an industry where you have to stay on your toes almost morning and night because it changes from the morning to night. I was watching the USA show this morning, and basically our first film's gonna be coming out with first AI generated actress. And so my brain recently has only been going to how do we portray our homes, but how do we do it in a manner that people still trust it, but we can still future cast and generate the ideation of what we are trying to do without it becoming a filtration of true AI to where people lose that trust. So this is in my brain morning and night, middle of the night, 24/7. Watching what others are doing. How are we doing it? How do we keep us behind the camera? How do we keep us behind the build without having too much generation behind it, but still, like I said, portray what we're trying to do that people have always done. We've always done hand sketches. We've always done hand renderings, but now it's at your fingertips. But when do we lose touch with reality? Essentially, and when is enough, but how is that going to go? So that's one thing that I would say it's a blessing, it's a curse. It's so many different things that we're trying to navigate. And I think that's truly taking up the most headspace as we go into the next quarter. I'm about to meet with you all. So that's one thing that we're going to be discussing in a full fashion is how do we navigate this? How do we still break these barriers, but how do we still pull back and how do we still remain true to who we are? So
that's wise because for both of us, we work in a very relationship-driven industry. Like we choose to be relationally minded with our customers, with our clients. And so, trust takes a long time to develop and a very short time to lose.
Right.
And neither of us want that.
So many different generations we build for right now and we have relationships with, and that's one thing that I'm really struggling with as a business owner, designer, all of the above, of how do you tell someone that is in their 80s, 90s that they are still building homes, believe it or not, and they're passing it down to generations, but how do you tell them something is not real when they think it's truly real?
And it's getting harder to differentiate.
It is. So yeah, that's my brainwaves right now.
All right, bucket list travel destination.
Ooh. Okay, this is a wild thing. I've always, so in design, in life, and I see color so vividly and so differently. And I think that is just something that is so unique about interior designers and being color trained, essentially. I want to go to Bali. I want to see all the colors. I want to feel the music. I want to feel the rhythm. And I've always wanted to do that, but I've always wanted to go to the Greek Isles and kind of just do that world tour of just the colors. And you see things so differently. I've always wanted to see the architecture and the beauty behind all of that. So those are my two bucket list places, along, of course, traveling with my husband, and then we're into golf. So
okay, all right. I wonder if there's golf opportunities in those locations.
I don't think so. We're actually going to the Ryder Cup, not this year, well, 2027. So we've got a big trip planned. But so I almost silo it. I have design and color that I want to see, and then I want to discover the beauty with my husband.
Sure, love that.
And golf.
All right, you're on a road trip. You got to stop for gas and a snack. What is your go-to road trip gas station food and drink?
This is so funny. And I feel like this is only the Southern girls are going to know. I really like boiled peanuts.
Okay.
Boiled peanuts. I think just growing up in the mountains, every time going from Knoxville over the Dragon, which is a beautiful road, it's 118 curves and 11 miles. And my best friend and I jumping in the car, turning our favorite CD on, believe it or not. Yes, burning CDs. Mm-hmm. Then we went to the podcast, or like the little iPod Touch or whatever it was. But always jumping in the car and knowing that at our gas station, there was boiled peanuts that we were about to get and a blue Gatorade.
And a blue Gatorade.
And a blue Gatorade. That is my weirdest thing. And I think now that I've gotten older and can't have the sodium of the boiled peanuts anymore, welcome to your 30s.
One day your daughter's going to be like, Mom, what is this?
I know. I still stop every so often because they do smell up the car really bad. But I really think I really love salt and vinegar chips too. So I think I like just the strong snacks. But yeah, still a blue Gatorade I love. And a Celsius now.
Okay. All right. Dream design client.
Oh, man. I think that's hard for me to answer because I've worked for so many of what I thought was dream clients. And every single one has exceeded my expectation of what I can do and how I can do it. But I really think someone who just loves natural beauty, but they see you for who you are and trust your process, your vision, and just let you do the entire thing. I love input, and I want somebody just to embody every ounce of trust that they would have in me or us to create that, so they walk in and they just feel completely immersed in what it is. So I think for me, instead of it being a monetary or a color or a theme, I think that's more of the trust value on that.
I like that. Someone that understands the skills and experience you bring to the table, and trusts you to execute that. Yeah,
we're here for a reason.
Absolutely. All right, so you are the co-founder and a partner with Boutique Living by Curate, luxury home builder.
Yep.
Now that we're 10 minutes into this conversation, but your background is in interior design, right?
Right.
So talk to me about the early years of Piper, where like creativity had its origin. I'd be curious to know, like, where does creativity start for young Piper?
Yes. So young Piper started at 7.
Okay.
And the creativity was fueled by my grandmother, by my mom. And I think it was innately always in our genes. My mom grew up doing pottery and art and watercolor, and she was a kindergarten teacher, and she always painted her classroom. So I was always around paint. I was always around art, but I sucked at all of it. And I remember going to art class and being ADD and ADHD and dyslexic. It was always it was so relaxing to me, but so frustrating at the same time that I couldn't portray what was in my mind because I'm so visual. So that was really funny growing up. My sister was always so good at that, and she still is an amazing watercolor artist. And my mom is so great at doing murals and everything. But my grandmother always did the interior design side of the true furniture, the true paint, the true curtains. And back when before true interior design was space planning, architecture, plumbing, electrical, all that it encounters with architecture these days, it was actually true homemaking. How did your home feel more warm? How did it feel more love? How did it feel more decorated. And my grandmother actually did a mail-in class, and I can't remember what year it was, but I want to say it was in the 50s, 60s that she did this. She was still fairly, very young. And she did a mail-in class. So she was in rural North Carolina, didn't have access to a lot of this stuff, and chose to do a course where she had to take pictures of her house and submit pictures of her house into a mail-in, and then she would take the little course of a written document and then revise and then send back pictures again. So it was truly like a see, a do, a submit type of thing, which was really unique. And so fast forward, of course, I wasn't even a thought then. She was still very young. So when I was 7 years old, we bought a lodge in North Carolina, and she started redoing it. And I spent a lot of time with my grandmother, willingly. I wanted to go stay with her for weeks at a time with her and my grandfather. And she took me at 7 years old. I was unwrapping leather chairs. I was help placing them. I was taking banquettes out with the team and looking at everything. And I felt so cool because I saw what they were doing, but I saw the before and I saw the after, and I knew that it felt so good. I knew seeing people come in happy was something really unique, that it was almost like an element of surprise. So seeing her do that for so long, she had this space in her attic. And this is like the core fondest memory of my sister and I. And this is the earliest time that I can remember doing something like this. So probably was 8 years old at this point. And my grandmother's had extra fabric around. We spent the night with her that night. She let us stay up until almost 2 a.m. hanging the drapes with screws in the attic on the drywall. It was like this lifted portion to where I think it was over the AC units maybe, or some of the condensers. I can't really remember what was underneath there, but it was a built-up platform. So there's only 4 foot between the platform, storage platform, and the ceiling. So we thought, okay, well, great. We're going to decorate it with all this stuff up here. So we literally decorated the whole space like a little mini playhouse. We draped the curtains like she had them draped. She showed us how to do it. She let us screw into the wall. We hung pictures, and that's where we played every single time we came over there. So I think that's my core memory of the first time that I remember doing something design-oriented. Then my mom let us pick out all of our new materials for our bedroom when my sister and I were like 9/10. They were princess beds, and so they had a step up. They had a platform and then drapes going around the beds, just as we know, a 4-poster bed essentially with curtains in it. But it was all these vibrant colors, and my sister and I couldn't really decide on who wanted a green side and who wanted a purple side or a pink side. So my mom just split the room down the middle with wallpaper. Half of it was purple, half of it was green, and we did decide on lime green carpet. Lime green carpet.
Makes sense.
Yes. And then we said, well, we want chandeliers. So my mom let us pick chandeliers to go in the middle. We had to decide on that. We had to decide on the flooring. So I think that was the fondest memory of being able to do that as like a preteen. And then this is crazy, but my high school that I went into had interior design classes. So I took my first official interior design class at 15 years old, my freshman year in high school. And it was a home ec based class where you learned how to sew and you learned how to room measure, but they actually called it interior design. And I asked my teacher, I said, how are you an interior designer, or what was the background to this? How did you get started this? And this was later on when I went to go speak to the classes when I was a freshman in college. She said, I'm not an interior designer. She said, my daughter is though. And so her daughter gave her the actual curriculum to teach. And she took it to West High School in Knoxville, Tennessee, and said, I think we should do this. There were enough. And that was the first pilot class, and there were 18 of us in there. Basketball players, women basketball players, every sport was in there, and every walk of life. And I think that's what I loved so much about my high school. You got to see everything. So each of those students got a taste of what interior design was at 15 years old, which is so unique that I don't think we have the opportunity for that now. So there was so much interest that first year, they gave a second year. And so there were 12 in the second year, and I stayed in that class. They made an interior design award for me, which I'm very blessed, and I still look at it. Today my mom hung it up, and I have it. And It was an achievement award for interior design, which hadn't been, I mean, high school superlatives are superlatives, right? But it was future interior designer. And looking back at that and the path that I've traveled now, I want to go back and thank my younger self for finding and staying in it.
Yeah.
And so I learned when I went into UTC, they even asked, how do you have this background of reading a scale? How do you know how to draft a floor plan? How do you know how to do a room board? How do you know how to do, we were still wrapping materials by hand at that time. How did you know how to do a layout? How did you, all this stuff? So it was my high school that did it. And so freshman year, that paved the way to my freshman year and getting accepted into UTC interior design. 120 applied and only 14 got in.
Wow.
Or we ended with 14, 60 got in. So between freshman year and senior year, it dwindled down to 14.
Sure.
Which was so unique to think about this. And the program here is now something that I actually teach at. So I teach interior design professionalism at UTC now. So talk about an evolutionary circle.
Yeah. You got so much experience at an early age.
Yeah.
It's almost like an internship that you didn't realize you were having.
Oh, yeah.
And so by the time you got to college, you knew you wanted to be one of those 14 at the end of the 4-year degree. Those 60 that started, some of them probably were just figuring this out and realized at some point that that's not what they wanted for themselves. But you knew. And how fun to have that early starting point and all those kind of checkpoints along the way. So was your senior project in high school to reimagine the principal's office?
I wish it was. Yeah. I can't remember. I think it was actually redesigning our house.
Okay.
So I think that was it. I still have my old boards up until my mom was like, do you still want these? And it's probably time I should let them go. I am married with a child and they probably should leave. But I really think it was redoing our living room. And my mom was in the middle of doing it anyway. So I got to help her and then see it come to full fruition. So it was really unique to be able to have that. And then my freshman year, my mom and my stepdad were building a house. And so I actually got to help them in that level too, as a freshman doing my actual classes. So I still pinch myself. I can't believe that I got that much experience. But I had people who allowed me to have that experience.
So do you feel like in high school, by the time you got to those courses, that's when you started to realize, you talked about being frustrated with not being able to put down visually what you had in your mind with like painting and sketching and whatnot. Do you feel like by that time you got to high school, it's like, oh, this is what's creatively in my head and this is how I can portray it for others to see and experience? Is that the gist of that kind of creative journey for you?
Fully. And back in those early years, ADD and ADHD, when I was 7 years old and I was diagnosed, which took a long time to get diagnosed, I always felt so frustrated with school. I felt I had peers tell me I was dumb, or I had to go into what, I can't believe they did this, but they had children that were dyslexic and or ADHD or ADD put into the special needs classes. And so I constantly was ridiculed because I was in special needs classes. It wasn't because I couldn't read. It was because my vowel sounds I can't hear and I couldn't write them. And so I have an oral dyslexia. I can remember what you and I talk about all day long. So I think when I found the ability to portray something that somebody was telling me in picture form and true written form, I knew that it was it. I knew I loved it. And I had a boyfriend, and by the time I was a senior in high school, I was still continuing to do it just kind of on my own. And he said, I've never seen you be so happy doing something. And that to me was, okay, I need to go do this. And I was actually going to go cheer all girl at Louisville, Kentucky. That was my dream. It was my dream to be a cheerleading coach. I tore my ACL my senior year. I was done. So I literally hopped in the car to go to orientation at UTC, and I said, I feel in my soul this is right, and I need to do this. And I never moved back.
And you saw it through.
I saw it through. Here I am. Now I'm teaching.
And here we are. Wow. What a great story.
Yeah.
Hopefully that inspires some of the students that you have, because college is such a crucial time for a lot of kids.
It's hard.
I say kids because, like, when we were in college, I think we thought we were adults.
Oh, we were kids.
We were big time. We had it all figured out.
Yeah.
But, very much still kids figuring out their way. So hopefully your story is inspirational to them who are still trying to figure out exactly what they want to do, where they want to go, and how they want to do it.
Yeah.
They can look at your story and go, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Or who they
this is
are.
doable.
Yes. And they can be confident in who they are. And I think that's one of the really unique things about where design trends have gone. For so many years, we were stuck in 3 avenues of design almost. You had your Art Deco, you had your traditional, and you had your modern, essentially. And you had so many kind of combos of those. But now, almost every style of design is popular in some way. Since 2020 is when I saw it absolutely explode. And so now I see the confidence in a lot of our students with the ability to be who they are and portray design based on who they are and what the clients they are going to attract because of who they are and their design style that they innately have.
So the market used to tell you as a designer what was going to work and what wasn't going to have a market, a customer, and now designers are learning that there are other people out there just like them that need them to design their way.
Yes.
For them. That's exciting.
It's so
because
exciting.
You don't have to fit a mold anymore. You can be you,
right?
Design your way, and you will have a market for it.
And that's exactly what I tell our designers at Curate. There is no one fix all. We are appealing to the masses. However, we're also in custom design builds. You pick up on keywords that someone brings to the table. You don't listen to the sketch that they have. You listen to their keywords. You listen them go through their sketch, but you don't take their sketch verbatim because they only know what they know. It's your job to tell the story. It's your job to portray what they're talking about, to get in their minds and their feelings and how they want to wake up in the morning, how they want to go to bed. Are you right-handed? Are you left-handed? And that's what I always tell my designers. You walk in with their meeting as a complete blank slate. It doesn't matter who they are, where they come from, what they do. Your job is to portray how they want to feel when they wake up in that house and when they go to bed.
No assumptions.
No assumptions.
Walk in with a fresh canvas.
Yes.
That's exciting.
Yep.
Because then no two are alike.
No two are alike. And no two of our houses are alike.
I was going to say, that's what luxury home building is, right? I mean, everything is custom.
Yeah, and I think our industry has gone such a unique direction with wellness, lifestyle, health, of course, the AI generation of different things and the smart home capabilities and how people are going with EMF and all of these different attributes that we've never had to practice before or know. I feel like every time I walk back into our office, I'll say, "What you working on?" They will literally answer with the most insane thing I never thought we were trying to price out or do, or we're trying to do a car lift into the basement that actually rises up and it goes through the front door area. It's like the craziest stuff. I'm like, how did we get here? But I know how we got here. Social media has gotten us here for everybody to see everything. That gives them the idea. And then we as an industry are now trying to figure out AI generation of models or make things real, defy gravity, the new products that are out. So I think to get down a rabbit hole and a tangent, I think there's just so many different things that we're trying to do these days, and we're doing the best that we can do. But there's always future development. We're always being better that we can do.
Sure. All right, so let's shift gears a little bit.
Yeah.
I want you to walk me through where you fall in the big picture of the design process.
Yeah.
Because obviously there's like left and right bumpers on your responsibilities and your contribution to the project. But it sounds to me like it's pretty massive. Obviously, you're not picking up a hammer and framing a house. No. You're not pouring the concrete for the driveway or the foundation. But like, there's a lot that goes into what you do. So just kind of give me the elevator pitch on what your responsibilities look like when it comes to designing a custom home.
Yes, so I'm very much in the background. I am very much in the cheering on our team and portraying what we want to do to the outward-facing world. So in the past 2 years, I've taken the marketing approach in the seat of Curate and bring that true ownership of saying, hey, I'm not in the day-to-day design, but this is where I need y'all to go. I need y'all to start pushing this direction. And or who do we want to attract? What's our buyer type? Where are our locations that we're building? How do we stay in the forefront of people's minds? How do we keep working to be better, but also, again, not lose that trust, generating too many ideas and putting them out there? How do we educate the public on what we do? And then I also recently just stumbled into the development side of things. And development is one of my core features of who Piper is. And that's what my family did they're still doing it. And it's been 78 years the company's been in business. And I always said dirt's in my blood. So I've now taken the director of design position at our company called Civitas. And I'm over basically what does the future look like for green tech homes and Curate together, and independently as a developer. So I'm back in design. I'm back in picking out colors, picking out water fountains, laying out houses, picking what the theme of the neighborhood's going to be, what the future looks like. And so when it comes into Curate, I'm now on the 2 to 3 year projected outward facing side, then giving them, boiling it down, working with architects, then bring it back to our teams and say, hey, this is the style we're wanting to go for. Let's attract people to come in our doors, to possibly invest in these communities, to invest in themselves, and to basically give the vision for Curate, then to execute with everyone's wildest dreams attached to them and what the buyers want to do with their custom homes. So I'm almost back to the 1,000-foot view.
Sure.
But what I've done in my entire life up until I'm 33 years old, and for my, what we'll call it, 28 years that I've been doing somewhat of this, it's every single thing that I've done so far. And I couldn't be happier. But I also couldn't be happier to be with my OG family of green tech, my family of Curate that I helped start, grow, prosper. And then now with our other company and sitting our development team side and say, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. Now y'all make it possible.
That sounds like fun, like every day. Because you started out early, you were kind of dreaming for yourself.
Yeah.
Right? You're taking all those ideas in your head and figuring out how to make them a reality. And then you were kind of dreaming for the here and now with the home you were designing or the team you were working with. And now you get to see dreaming from a totally different perspective, from the 30,000-foot view and, like you said, way out into the future.
Right.
So someone else gets to deal with the numbers, right?
Yes. Yes.
And I'm sure you deal with numbers too. But
yes,
everybody needs dreamers.
Everyone needs dreamers.
And that sounds like a ton of fun every day.
Yes.
And then those numbers people sometimes have to go, whoa, Piper, hang on.
Come back to your right here.
You just say, hey, no, I need you to go get these numbers. This is the dream. Go get the numbers.
Yes.
Not the other way around.
Yes. And that's what I find so truthful to who I am. Communication is one of my biggest attributes that I feel like make up Piper. The visionary, but also the cheering on of others and building others up and building that team and knowing that everybody can go further, do better, be stronger. And so pushing people, growing people to get those avenues taken of saying, this is the idea and this is where market's going. The market doesn't know that yet. And then telling it down, boiling each of our teams down to, you can do this. And then them look back in 3-5 years saying, I can't believe we did that. I think about my first development on Main Street in Jefferson Heights. Open floor plans were such a concept then. Row houses were such a concept then. But looking back, that paved the way to a lot of the developments that you're seeing be developed now. You're seeing these front porches, front entries, rear loading garages. We all grew up in suburbia and or apartments or small towns, but only the historic towns had that stuff. So I love that concept, and I'm now rooted in research every day, which I am an interior nerd, so I love it.
Okay. I like that. All right, so let's shift gears again.
Yeah.
You mentioned communications, you feel is your strong suit.
Yeah.
Marketing is something that you're leaning hard into.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're designing and building homes. You need buyers to know that they exist. You need to sell homes, sell developments, sell the future.
Yeah.
So 148 Films came into the picture, we'll call it 5 years ago. Talk about, just in generalities, really, like what your vision is for differentiating Curate and really even differentiating green tech in the respective markets they're in, and like how you're leveraging, social media, video content, photos, the like.
Yeah. So I spoke to my team really deeply about this last night, actually. We had a really good head front meeting on a lot of things. And it was basically a trajectory of what are we going to do this year? We set our goals for ourselves and for our teams. What are those houses? What do we want to do? What does it look like for the next 2 quarters? What does it look like for Q4 next year? And how do we attract that buyer from Q1 of this year to Q4 next year without them even knowing it, right? So when I signed on with Skip, I think you and Skip at the time, right?
I wasn't even in
You
the
weren't
picture.
even here.
No,
okay.
That's how recent
I'm
this is.
going back to all of it. And I feel like it's been such a blur because we had COVID and we started Curate in COVID. So we were just literally surviving. I think where it was, I saw Skip shooting a wedding. And I was a bridesmaid. And I was like, Skip, I haven't seen you in forever. Are you still shooting? He's like, well, I'm actually going into the residential world. And I was like, well, this is perfect timing. We just started a custom home building company.
1 degree of separation, right?
Always 1 degree. And that little conversation, he followed up. And we were with another photographer at the time, who I adored and loved. And it was great. But where we were going is not where he was going. He was selling his company. And so it was like a divine path of travel of this is what needs to be and this is the lane we need to go in. And in my mind, I always followed Shay McGee, where you had, of course, the top designers that were in COVID at that time, but they always had a film crew with them. They always had the story being told. They always did the recipes with everything, like Joanna Gaines, everybody loves. These are household names that we are. And so when I started it, when we started Curate, we had zero marketing. We did not do marketing. I was not in marketing. I didn't know what I was doing. I just know when we lost our director of sales to have her family, which is a funny story, she's back with us again. And now her and I are literally working side by side on so many things in the future. And it was me. The responsibility was me. I had to figure this out. So I just started gathering all of my sources of people that I knew. People are power, right? Having the correct people work with you gives you the power of what you're wanting to do. You cannot do it yourself. So I I've always been in social media since it started. I've always just told my story of who I am, what I'm doing, no matter if it's picking out a paint color or working with a brand or whatever it may be. I was just always telling my story. So when I told Skip, I said, I really just want to tell the story of what we're doing every day. But I want to break people's brains on how we did it or what we're doing or what we've done. So the past 4 years, I always wanted to be portfolio building, right? Our trajectory in 5 years when we started Curate was to be the best luxury builder in Chattanooga. But we also can build for all price points and we own land. So we wanted that kind of, I always say, a bang, bang, bang feature of it. We always have the availability to do something, right? No matter if it's a market-ready home, which are our artisan homes, or it's our portfolio home and we're building it, it's a 3-year build. We're design building every aspect of it. So going into that and meeting with Skip at the time, y'all's team grew. We grew. Our marketing budget grew. So I think it was Q1 last year was the first time we were able to really jump in the marketing game. I've learned about it. I'd been learning about it for 2 years almost with my feet in the fire, just trying to figure it out, just trying to understand the next algorithm that was going to hit.
Hitting a moving target, right?
Oh my gosh, it's obliteration, So trying to gather that. So we started working with Common State. We started working with you all. And that's where when we tagged all of our teams together, you came in for the storytelling, the shooting, and then we added the arm of basically the social media side and started capturing content. I knew I couldn't be everyone, but I knew what I wanted to do. So having people all in the room to listen to what I wanted to do, not tell me that I didn't know what I was doing or this was wrong for what you're doing. We've been working on our marketing plan for 4 years, but we start 2 years prior to actually needing it. So if you think about it, you have to start long hauling it way before then you actually need it, because you're building that portfolio to tell the story to that 3-year buyer that is thinking about building in a year, but their house is going to take 3 years. So that is a 4-year projection of doing something. So how do we capture that person, tell a story of what we know what we're doing, but also share to the public what we are doing right now? So I always talk about this in the back end marketing and in the forefront. And that's what we talked about last night. And I think I've broken everybody's brains trying to figure it out. So, and this only makes sense in my dyslexic ADD and ADHD mind. So now I will have a meeting with you all, and that's what we'll be discussing, which I'm really excited about. And we're talking about AI and how to generate, what do we do? So if I can encourage anyone out there, if you're trying to figure any of this out, jump in and try to gather your resources.
Love that. Easy for me to say on this side of the table, but it's been fun. So I asked the guys, I said, hey, Piper's coming on the podcast soon. Give me some questions that you would like to hear answered. I got all kinds.
I'm sure you did. I spend a lot of time with you all.
Right? But they had some good ones here. So Skip wanted me to ask you, in what ways do you think video tells a better story when it comes to showing off how you design a home?
I think this is a sensory thing for me. I want someone to feel like they're sitting at our kitchen counter, smelling the steam coming off the coffee, the bacon cooking in the oven, the cookies coming out in the afternoon. I want someone to watch that video and literally smell what they are thinking of what they want. And they don't know they want it yet until they see that video. The steam coming off that fresh morning shower, all the buttons being perfectly timed to what they want to do. We're telling a story. We're telling people what they want without them knowing it, right? You don't want it until you've seen it. You don't want it until you tasted it. You don't know you've wanted anything until you've had the experience, right? You've traveled somewhere. You've seen something. So in my mind, when we shoot our videos, it's telling that story. And I think that's why we partner so well, because you all are these storytellers. I was just with Malachi for the weekend shooting something, and Sam and Joseph, and I remember seeing something so vividly, and in my mind, I stopped. And I did stand there for a second. I was like, wow, that's going to be a cool shot. But I have no idea what this is about to look like in their camera, because you all take the craziest shots and turn them into the most interesting things. From where we were standing, I could just see Sam sitting in a chair, shooting across the room, right? When I looked into his camera, I saw a dinner plate come down, a fork go into it, and the steam come off of the plate. And I was like, this is perspective. This is perspective our entire lives. Yep. You can see something until you experience it, but trusting the right people to get it there is what it's all about in business. So that, to me, I think is the most important thing about what you all do for us.
And I tell the guys here too, it's so fun to see what the final product looks like.
Yeah.
Because I'm on set sometimes and I get to see what you see. Sam's over here with this angle and Joseph's doing this thing, and there's a drone in the air.
Yeah.
But all those pieces come together, and it never ceases to amaze me, their vision. And then also what I love about how Joseph edits a lot of things, shout out to Joseph, is his sound design is so intentional. The way
incredible.
Whether or not he captures sound in the moment,
yeah.
he's able to add it on the back end so effortlessly and make you really feel like you're there with just the little nuanced sounds. Like, there's a drone shot of one of your homes from the outside, and everybody flies drones. You see them all over the internet. It's
right.
nothing new.
Nothing new.
So the angle that we show you might not be spectacular and unique. However, you hear the birds and the wind
yes.
through the trees and the leaves, and there's so much added there that obviously that was not captured in the moment, but it was intentional on the back end because we want to bring the viewer in and experience that video, not just see it. And,
Yeah.
Baking cookies in one of those green tech projects we shot. It might have been last year at this point.
Yep.
The whole idea of, you said, cookies coming out of the oven, you want to short of, injecting smell into that video.
Yes.
I mean, we're basically trying to bring the viewer into that experience.
You are. And I think going back to how we design our homes, that's the only way I can story tell. But I think our challenge to both of us in the next 3 to 5 years is how are we going to do that with how much video, and how do we keep ourselves separated? Mm-hmm. So that's something I always want to be the leading one trying to do it. And that's why I stay up at 3:00 in the morning and trying to figure it out. But I think it truly is the only way we can show people how we build and how we can portray those things.
Well, so I love that, because you mentioned you were on set last week with Sam and Malachi and Joseph.
Yeah.
Tell me more about this North Carolina project, because we were talking about it off mic. I only know the team went up to spend a couple of days with you and shoot content, but this is like a legacy, a heritage project with you and your grandmother, right? You kind of alluded to it on the front end of our conversation, but I'd love to hear more.
So there are two parts of Piper, essentially. I have my embodiment of what I've been for the past almost 10 years now with the Green Tech, the Curate family, and now our Civitas family. That will always be me. And I have another side where it's all family oriented. That is two parts of Piper. I no longer do freelance work. These are two parts of me that I've dedicated my soul to. So my other half is my grandmother and executing her visions that she's always had. She's always been in hospitality. That's what our family does. And I had the honor to be asked last year if I would take on all the projects that she does. My grandmother just turned 90, and she's still in charge of 7 active projects right now.
Wow.
So that's the only freelance that I do is family oriented, and it's just helping create the longevity for my daughter, for her kids, for her grandkids that will be around at those times, for our family, for our gathering places, for others to enjoy. So the North Carolina project was a heritage project that we did, and that's where my grandparents grew up. The lake was created back in 1826. The first dam was built on Lake Santilla for water storage, and then they started, it was a creek for a while. They built it, and then in the 70s is when it started really filling up to the water lines for people to enjoy. And so Lake Santilla Lodge was created. We bought it in October. We flipped it, and we welcomed our first guest a week and a half ago and kicked off our 4th of July celebrations. So my grandparents always lived in Robbinsville, North Carolina. That's where our construction company was actually formed. So giving back to the community has always been something that we've done. It's a very, very small town, very family-oriented, very rural. So giving opportunity there has always just been the highlight of what we've wanted to do, what we've needed to do, giving back to families for their longevity of time. And so when she called me, she said, I have a new project, which this is no news to me. Okay, well, what are we doing?
Always.
What do we need to do today? And so I'm able to do it in the background. I have an assistant that helps me on that side so I can keep my forefront of my actual job and what I'm doing every day. But she said, I bought a lodge. There are 8 bedrooms. We'll have a full functioning kitchen, a commercial kitchen housing Willow Tree restaurant. And I said, okay. What do we need to do? She said, well, we're taking it down to the studs. I was like, oh, okay. My hesitation through the phone, I think she probably felt. And she was probably like, she said, I don't know what we've done, but I think it will be good. So I said, okay, we did it. We flipped this place, added 2 buildings, and we're building 2 more buildings for cottages for people to rent out, living quarters for the innkeeper, and renovated the 8 bedrooms since February.
Wow.
So now it's we welcomed our first guests, as I said. We had our first dinner service. We fed 140. It's a gathering place. It's a gathering place for family to enjoy. There's not much cell phone service, but there is Wi-Fi, and that's up to you if you want to turn it on or not. but it's a getaway. It's a getaway mentally, physically, and I think that's what so many people are seeking these days. So that's a concept that I have now taken into building too. So when I have one big evolutionary cycle in my life, I feel like it's what I'm doing for our family and it's giving me experiences to do next, but it's also telling me what people are looking for in the future and what they're wanting to do. So as I'm going into the development side, I'm still doing the same things almost, just in a different fashion. But getting to be asked by your grandmother, who now sees you as a professional, to take it all over, that's everything little 7-year-old Piper hanging those drapes in her attic wanted. But didn't know.
Full circle moment.
Yeah.
Did you immediately feel the gravity of that conversation when she called?
Yeah, I think I looked at my husband and started crying.
Yeah.
Because I've always been self-generated, self-motivated.
Mm.
I didn't work for a family company, and I always felt like a black sheep for doing that. But didn't know that's what no one wanted of me. And to have that gratitude of being able to say, they trust me. They see me for what I've built and who I've been and what I've become. And now having conversations in our family saying, thank you so much. You've done a great job was everything that little 14-year-old Piper needed in life when I started taking those classes, 15.
So what does all this mean to you now as you get to watch your daughter grow up and pour into her like your grandmother and your mother poured into you?
I think I'm teaching her work ethic, but work-family balance. I'm teaching her how to work hard and to say bye to mommy for a little bit, but mommy's coming back. You can go out and chase your dreams. There's no ceiling that you will hit if you line yourself up appropriately to do it. You stay positive. You have gratitude. You stay centered with Christ. You keep going. You keep smiling, and you just prosper every single day, no matter what life hands you. I was telling Joseph, he joked this morning. He said, "How's it going?" I said, "My daughter slept through the night." And he goes, he knows the saga with this. My girl does not sleep. And yeah, he knew it was going to be a good day for me because I slept. So you could do it on no sleep. But
Piper, you look rested. Yes, my daughter slept.
Yeah, I feel good. I can talk today. I think it's just one of those things to where I've always had it in my life that I saw women in business as strong, as confident. You kept moving, kept smiling. You take it with grace. You take it with stride. And I think that's the only way that I've succeeded in where I'm at is because I take every day with gratitude. And I think I told my husband, I was like, I think I can die content right now if I wanted to. I have family. I have what I need. And there's going to be trial and tribulations come. I know that. But I'm content right now. I'm loving what I do for work every day. It's not work to me. I get to talk to people like you all the time and create goodness. And I have a team that I trust to execute the vision every day. I don't know how it gets better, but I know that you can always strive to do better and do more. I'm not perfect. We get in spats, you figure it out. But you always try to find a resolution and go to bed not mad.
I think I probably never paid enough attention to my college professors in knowing their background and experience.
Right.
I think we all know by now that some professors have more experience and, an understanding of the industry that they're teaching than others. Mm-hmm. But you are actually working currently in the industry.
Yes.
And also giving back to the next generation that you might end up hiring one day if you haven't already. But I mean,
I have.
I was going to say, imagine there's a world where that is your minor leagues of design, and like, hey, we're pulling you up to the big leagues now.
Yes, and I tell my students, I said I'm 1 degree of separation at all times, and just know that it's a very small world. I'm always here for you to count on me, to lean me. I give them my cell phone number. I say, text me between 8 and 5. If not, I'll get back with you after that. They have my cell phone number. They can call me anytime. They can FaceTime to ask me a question. I make myself available. And I feel like that's something that not all professors do, to say, I'm here. I want to teach you the best foot forward. But my goal is when you go into your first interview it's day one, you started your firm, you have all the groundwork you ever need to feel confident. You can always have sweat running down your back. We all do sometimes. But you show it with grace and honesty, gratitude, and professionalism. And so that's exactly what I try to teach every day. But they have their tools in their toolkit to be able to do anything that business throws at them.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Where can people find you and connect with Piper?
Yeah. Piper Stromatt on Instagram. I know everybody's on Instagram these days. Curate's website, piper@curatechat.com. If you're interested in development investment, Piper at civitas-group.org. And it's Civitas, Civitas. And if you have any questions with green tech, I'm available just through their marketing department. You can always ask a question if there's something on that level. But I'm out of that day to day. I'm more in the Civitas and the Curate day to day. So, yeah, that's where you can find me. LinkedIn, all the things. If you type in Piper Stromatt, I'm a pretty good hit on Google. You can find something.
There you go. Well, thank you so much for spending time with me today.
You're welcome.
I learned a lot. I knew I would. It was a great conversation. And we will see you here again for another quarterly meeting. And I'm sure we'll be on another shoot here again soon. So.
I can't wait. It's always a good time.
Thanks, Piper.
Thank you.